Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. In today's video, we're using a champion that I've said I don't really like before. I'm on record as saying Strategos ISLIN, not my cup of tea. I feel like I like him much less than, from what I've seen, most YouTube comments and most other CCs and everything do. But today, we're busting him out and bringing him in to Nightmare HYDRA. Yeah, because basically, if you saw, I remixed my hard and brutal teams in the last couple of weeks, and they were doing like 400, 500 million damage each, and really happy with those. And I got up to Nightmare, and it's been a little bit of a nightmare trying to make things work. Even though we've got really good champs, missing a couple of the key ones has really switched things up. Let's look at ISLIN. What is he doing? ISLIN, for us specifically, I think he does three things really well for HYDRA, but there is drawbacks to each of them. Big drawbacks, potentially. He arguably even does four things. Number one, he is an AoE decrease speed champion, and he can also decrease enemy buffs as well, which is really nice. So he's a solid decrease speed champ, right? 3 turns AoE. The downside is magic affinity. He's not void. It will be based off the hit, so he can weak hit, and that's a bit unfortunate, but that's really good. Number two, what he can do is actually be a mischief tank, because he gives ally protection to your team and increased defense, but he puts counterattack and a shield on himself. So he can actually work fairly well as a mischief tank, which is pretty big. There's not a ton of champions that can mischief tank and do decreased speed at the same time. And then finally, and there's not too much of a downside to this one, he doesn't have a ton of buffs, and it's on a 4-turn, right? He doesn't buff extend or anything. Like Krisk is better, but, you know, it's not bad. It's just that would be the main sort of downside. He'd love a buff extender in there. Number three, he can be a fairly decent provoker. Each hit, 50% chance to provoke on his A1. What's the downside of this? Well, you guys know me. I love full auto HYDRA teams. Doesn't really work on full auto because he won't target the head of decay. And that's what we're running today. If you did this on manual, he gets way better as a provoker on manual. Now we're running him he also heals your team a decent chunk with this too, which is nice. You've got him in lightning cage to make his mischief tanking more consistent, and we've got him in reflex set to make his, again, mischief tanking and decrease speed more consistent. Again, it will work better on manual to target his provoke when you need his provoke. So he's coming in. I actually forgot to roll this ring up. Let's roll it up now. Oh, that's probably why I never rolled it up. It's not very good. It's pretty poor. He's got, oh, we got more attack percent. Let's go. He's gonna smack so hard with his non-existent attack scaling. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, he's got reflex, and he's got righteous. Got him a 266 speed, 485 resistance, and 371 accuracy. And we've built him with just as much defense and HP as possible to make him nice and survivable. The key things are the high speed, high resist, and accuracy. Again, if we give ourselves the HYDRA bonuses for Nightmare HYDRA, you really want above 500 resistance and about 400 accuracy. There's sort of the numbers I shoot for. I think it's maybe it's 510 or 515. I can't remember exactly. And I think it's 405 accuracy or like the sweet points. But yeah, we want him to be fast enough to rotate through his stuff. And yeah, that's the idea. For his blessings, standard enough. War Master, do more damage. Lasting Gifts make his mischief tanking better. And Master Hexer make his decreased speed better. And let's dive in and go. So this is not the best team at all in the world. It's got a couple of fairly large problems. But there we go. We can see ISLIN. He actually came in and decreased speeded everybody, which is quite cool on turn one. We'll take it. We'll take it. We might have a couple of resets here. I can't remember. And he actually mischief tanked just fine right at the start. This team has a couple of problems, I'm afraid. And this is sort of going through my thought process and building the team. I think it's helpful for you to see, me build a team and not be fully happy with it, what works well and what doesn't work well with this particular team. So certainly one very annoying thing with Rotation 6 is we've got a Force Affinity Head of Wrath. So we actually have 2 champions that can steal buffs with Michinaki. At least one of them tried to steal off Head of Wrath, but weak hit. So Wrath is buffing up, which kind of sucks, to be honest. Ugo is our block buff champion, but Ugo, again, can weak hit against the Head of Wrath. One of the most annoying things at this team as well, and this is why I often use Inquisitor Shamael, and I need to try come up with more teams that don't use Inquisitor Shamael. But Inquisitor Shamael makes the head of Torment, the Fear Head, much easier to deal with. In this team, we're really relying on the Ugo Cleanse and the Sifi passive, which is a 50-50. And it's just not very reliable. It's kind of a bummer. And indeed, the Michinakis are sort of the main source of damage. And this is now Force Affinity. So I find this rotation is really rough because, again, it's the Michinakis really struggle to lock down Head of Wrath. And this composition really struggles at Torment. And Torment actually dies really slowly. Again, we could manual this and have Newt always Blessed Bash Torment. But that's not something we want to do. We want to see this working full auto. Our Provoke champion on this team is just one Michinaki and Provoke set. That's all we've got. So it's not very reliable. Again, if we were to manual, that's where ISLIN would really come into his own. And an ISLIN doing his A1s when we need it would make an absolutely huge difference. I might have manualed a little bit. I might have hopped in a couple of times. I can't remember exactly. Not too much, though, anyway. Or mostly just leaving them to do what they want. Newt, by the way, Newt is so much better on manual than he is on auto. On auto, he keeps slapping decapitated heads. He slaps all sorts of random things at Blessed Bash, where you would always want him basically hitting Suffering, and you'd always want Newt doing Blessed Bash. Congratulations, by the way, to this guy. I didn't see that. Got Fina, Blade of Arabia. Congrats, dude. You basically want him always hitting a head that's alive, right? Because it will do the same damage as a decapitated hit because of the cap to enemy max HP. So there's a lot of things we could improve. But this is the concept of the team. It works. It's just not quite perfect. But you've seen ISLIN. He's decent at the decreased speed. We're going to, click the head to target on auto. That's to break him free. He's decent at decreased speed. He's decent at mischief tanking. It's pretty cool, right? Like I was trying this with Vizix, and it was not bad either. Vizix is, I would say, more consistent at provoking. She's more consistent at decreased speed as well than ISLIN. That's sort of one of my main reasons to dislike her. But Vizix cannot mischief tank, at least not very well at all, really. She can do it a bit with the shield, but it's certainly not elegant, shall we say. She's more auto-friendly, but yeah, ultimately, I tried it with Vizix, and I said, you know what? It's just not working that well. The Head of Mischief is just running over us. I feel like we need something else. And yeah, ISLIN actually ended up being that answer. Ended up being a bit of an upgrade this time around. And like I said, if you did it on manual for his A1, you would be absolutely laughing. If they ever added, there's something, let me just throw this out there. It's one of the things I want, probably more than anything in HYDRA, would be more in-depth AI settings. So I could come in and I could say, ISLIN, always target Head of Decay with your A1, no matter what. Make that provoke. Husk, blast away your A2 on cooldown, always A1 because it provokes. Just always throw that Head of Decay. Let's say even target Head of Decay if he is not provoked. If he's already provoked, go ham. Hit whatever the heck you want. I don't care. Newt, always Blessed Bash on the target with the highest max HP, unless they're under Poison Cloud. Like, if we could put in like little qualifiers, how insane would that be? That would be so good. That would be so insanely good. But yeah, you can see this team, we're lower. This is, we're lower than the 1 million damage per turn. If we skip on like to the end here at this point, you can see this is around about where it flops over, which again is saying to me there's a lot of room to improve. So by the end of this, we do ended up fairly close to the 1 million damage per boss turn, which is decent. Yes, I think this is what happened. We got devoured under Poison Cloud, and then I think they didn't have the hexes available, and we couldn't actually break the dude free, I think is what happened. Oh, because he's our Mischief tank who got devoured as well. He's just going to steal a lot of turn meter. Yeah, so like he steals our turn meter and he's basically to full. If we'd had the Hex there, we probably could have got him with Blessed Bash, but no. So ISLIN got devoured about 46 minutes in, and I presume the run just falls apart basically very quickly after that point. We really did not get much more damage. And that's the ultimate result for this run. Again, there's definitely room, big room potentially to improve this team for sure. Yeah, for sure. Definitely some interesting things we could do. I would say an obvious enough easy improvement. Let's say we're keeping ISLIN in. We could replace Sifi and Ugo with a Tuhanarak. Tuhanarak basically does what both of these champions are doing in one. We get the increased speed, increased defense from Sifi. We get healing from Sifi and from Ugo. Tuhanarak does them both. Tuhanarak cleanses, which is going to help us stay free of the fear. And then that frees us up to bring in somebody else, which is quite nice, right? That could be quite nice as an extra bonus. We could bring in like Tuhanarak and Lady Mikage, and like that, this team would get a heck of a lot stronger, frankly. But hey, look, it is what it is. There you go. So this is the team. You see the Michinakis, 62 million, 71, so very similar sort of damage from them. ISLIN doing about 15 million. So, you know, he's doing more than a Sifi. He's doing more than an Ugo. It's mostly just the counterattacks adding up, but War Master is most of it, honestly. So it's decent. And maybe a bit from Lightning Cage. Not too much, but a bit. Noose did the 47 million. So yeah, again, it's not an amazing team, but it's a decent team. I thought it was just really interesting to see, oh yeah, ISLIN, everything that is in his kit is actually helping here to make a big, you know, it can make a big difference. And honestly, I think if you were to manual this, it could go a lot better. Like it would get a lot stronger, right? Like you would not, you say Sifi just never A1 the fear head and then get true feared and miss your whirlwind romance. Like don't do that. It's a bad idea. We target Newt properly, Newt's damage goes way up, and then the Michinaki's damage goes way up. ISLIN can provoke more and be a very reliable provoker. And yeah, it could get a lot better. But yeah, I thought it was just fun. There we go. ISLIN, you know, I've never really built him before. I built him up sort of specifically because he was 5-star for Amius, the Lunar Archon, and he was just there to slap on Brimstone. It was, you know, it was a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Made it very easy, but now he's coming in, and yeah, he's decent for HYDRA. Like I said, for me personally, I still don't love him. I still feel like there's a lot of problems. He just doesn't work super well on auto, right? For me, I personally way prefer Vizix. However, Vizix is better provoking. I think she can basically solo provoke the boss with enough speed. Like, you know, 270 speed, she's solo provoking that boss, you know, with some good turn meter control. Better decreased speed. She doesn't have mischief tanking, which is something that you can do with ISLIN. And he also, you know, he's gonna heal up your team a bit more. I think not crazy. Like he's not doing a crazy amount of healing. It's mostly the Sifi, and then like Leech is doing work. Like Newt's the #1 healer, or should we say, Leech is the #1 healer here. But yeah, there you go. It's my thoughts on ISLIN. Let me know. Have you used ISLIN? Do you like him? What's your best composition for Nightmare HYDRA with ISLIN in there? I'm curious what sort of teams you guys have. And yeah, there we go. I mean, I thought it was a fun experiment the last couple of weeks. I was like really happy with the hard and brutal team, though there's always room for improvement there, potentially some big improvement. But then I got to Nightmare and was like, oh yeah, I took away my Necmo and I took away my Krisk, which would typically be, you know, tent poles that I would lean on for Nightmare HYDRA. When I take those away, it becomes harder. So we got ISLIN in, and that was the result. So yeah, again, probably the biggest change I would do in the future, probably bring in, kind of awkward, we could bring in Lady Mikage, but what do we do? Maybe ditch a Michinaki? I don't even know. Lady Mikage would be decent here. Not sure. Anyway, enough babbling. I'm curious what your comments will say. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.